Hi, welcome everybody to the Sunday International Big Workshop. I'm Dan Bean, a recovered alcoholic. Great to see you all here today. This workshop is facilitated by Brother Kimball H. Welcome, brother. This study relies on you listening, but please, we pray that you have your big book in hand and follow along with the pen, pencil, or highlighter and make any notes and pause if you have to. Write down any questions and we will take them at the end of the meeting. We will keep everyone muted during the workshop except for the facilitators. Any inappropriate behavior will not be tolerated and you will be removed by one of the co-hosts. This meeting is being recorded. The audio portion only is being recorded and only of the facilitators. The recording will be shut down at the end of the workshop before taking any questions in order to preserve your anonymity, and then it will be put onto our YouTube channel. Here we start with the step 3 prayer found on page 63, if you care to join me. Thank you. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Kimball. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Brother Dan. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the Keystone International Big Book Sunday meeting. My name is Kimball. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Roll Tide for life. Y'all know I got to throw that in sometime. Anyway, it's great to see everybody today. You know, I'm having a splendid day as usual. Every day just gets better and better. In my life, due to my relationship with God, and I'm going to tell you the truth, I ain't never going to apologize for that. Shoot, we ain't going to apologize for talking about God, because I talk about him everywhere I go. Ain't no doubt about it. Preachers even ask me questions, but anyway, that's personal stuff. But anyway, shit, I'm so glad to be here. Today, I want to talk about some important stuff. We called it HOW, right? In chapter 5, it says how it works, the name of the chapter, right? So we focus on the how, the H, the O, and the W. Honesty, open-mindedness, willingness. And on page 568 of our big book, in the back, in the appendix, it tells us willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness are the essentials of recovery, but these are indispensable, meaning these are necessary in order to have success in this program. You know, shoot, before AA, I couldn't get honest about a darn thing in my life. I lied to myself. I said, shoot, I tell myself I'm gonna get me a drink. I'm gonna stop at 2, I'm gonna stop at 3, knowing it was a lie before I even took it. I'm gonna act good this time, and I promise people, I ain't gonna cut the food today. I promise you. Shoot, after about that 3rd or 4th drink, I'm out of control, and I can't control how much I'm drinking, and then the whole thing just goes crazy. I become outraged and enraged and every other kind of rage in the world. So, but then when it comes to thinking about this how, let me share this first. On page 58 of the big book, the title is How It Works. It says, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover. Here's the biggest word in the big book: if they had a capacity to be honest. Shoot, I didn't know what honesty was, right? When I was growing up, I know you're talking about if I lie, I'm going to hell, I'm going to jail and everything else. So I was kind of scared to tell a lie. And then when I got old enough, I said, shoot, I can lie to get my way out of this. I can lie to get my way out of that. But when it comes to alcoholism, an alcoholic of my type, I couldn't get honest with nobody. I simply lied to everybody about my whereabouts, how much I was drinking, what I was doing when I become a mission for 3 or 4 days. Lie. I couldn't get honest. I couldn't even get honest about that this program would help solve my alcohol problem. I ain't want to hear it. No, I got ordered to go to AA way back in 1983. I ain't got no drinking problem, but somebody seen I did, right? Shoot, I ain't got no drinking problem. A couple of years later, I'm starting to get into all this trouble. Even in the military, getting in trouble after trouble after trouble. But I still don't have a drinking problem. But every time I had a problem, I had been drinking. Every time there was a dispute, I had been drinking. But I don't have a drinking problem. No, I don't. I don't need no AA. Shoot, let me do this thing on my own. But it totally failed every time, y'all. Every time. So the big book talks about honesty 3 times in the very first paragraph. Let me share a little bit of that with the group. So the type of honesty that I myself had to search for, and I'm sure a lot of us others had to search for the same way, is being honest with ourselves. A little self-searching. We already know. Can anybody tell me what the biggest problem for an alcoholic of our type, the real alcoholic? Well, it's self. We bust our obsessed with ourselves, shoot, thinking we got everything wrapped up and under control. So, in the beginning of my recovery, when I was beat down real bad, I had to look at myself. I said, "Darn, man, you the problem. Them people ain't the problem. Your wife ain't the problem. Your children ain't the problem. Your job ain't the problem. Shoot, you are the problem." So I had to look deep down within my soul. Think this thing over, right? Because, people say they best thinking got them here, right? My best thinking kept me drunk. That's just the bottom line. I was always thinking of new ways and new means to get more money and more alcohol and more money and more alcohol. The bottom line, I couldn't be honest. I'd lie to my bosses. I'd lie to everybody in my path. I was a totally dishonest fool. I couldn't get honest with nobody. So from my honest perspective, I had to look deep down within myself. I could now begin to picture, because I was at a point where I wanted to die, because I couldn't see myself continuing to live this way, and I seemed like I had no solution in the world. A lot of y'all know a lot of my history. Even when I was at the desperation, I'm up here preaching to people, and I'm steady putting that bottle up, and I'm getting drunk and toe up. So I didn't have a relationship though, but I kept on drinking. I mean, I tried everything, plenty of rehabs. Y'all know the deal. But then this honesty I'm talking about is inward honesty, not nothing on the outside, right? That's all we need in the beginning. We got to get thoroughly honest with ourselves. It talks about rigorous honesty. That means a hard work, right? You do something rigorous, that means it's going to be a struggle. You got to really work at it. When I was a soldier, I was a rigorous soldier, because shoot, I had to outdo everybody. I had to outrun you. I had to outwork you. I had to outtalk you. I had to outdrink you. So that was some rigorous work. Sometimes being up a week at a time, almost, basically, because I wanted to always be the best that I could at everything that I did. But what was really succeeding was the drinking. It seemed to be progressing and tearing my butt down. But somehow I was still able to roll. So then it goes on. Honesty, honesty, honesty. And that's the first principle that we must begin to practice in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Y'all know I used to hear all this crap. We done heard all this crap about just don't drink today. If you don't put it in your mouth, you can't get drunk. One day at a time. We all done heard all this stuff. So I said, okay, let me try this one day at a time. And I wouldn't make it through a half a day, because I wasn't honest enough to make it a day at a time without a solution, right? Baffled by the seeming futility of alcoholism. So, because I kept telling everybody, no, I'm not the problem. You are the problem. Then I became obsessed with myself, right? Thinking I can run the show. I can drink much as I want to, and then it won't be no problem. But every time I took a drink, especially in the last 10 years, everything became a problem. No doubt. Even going to sleep was a problem. Waking up was a problem. Staying woke during the day, it was a problem. So first thing required, or one more thing I want to share, is at the bottom of page 13 in Bill's story. God humbled me down. I'm just be honest with you, because I was a pride, cocky joker. And I'm going to share with you something that Bill wrote here on page 13. It's very important in my recovery. So, Brother Rob, Brother Dan, if you will, where it said in the first full paragraph, read that short paragraph where it says, "There I humbly offer myself," and you can stop where I have not had a drink since.
Bottom of page
13. Yeah, page 13.
There I humbly, yeah. It's the first full paragraph. Sorry, you just
There
mentioned.
we go. You in the right place. You in the
There
right
I
place.
humbly offered myself to God as I then understood him, to do with me as he would. I placed myself unreservedly under his care and direction. I admitted for the first time that of myself I was nothing, that without him I was lost. I ruthlessly faced my sins and became willing to have my new-found friend take them away, root and branch. I have not had a drink since.
No doubt. Thank you, brother. You notice the words. He said, "There I humbly offered myself to God," right? Hey, in trying to get honest, right? I had to get honest with myself deep down. Well, fool, you ain't God. What's the heck wrong with you? So, in the process of trying, at the beginning of recovery, I realized something. Something was switching on the inside of me. And actually, it was God that humbled me, because I can remember the last night I took a drink, and I drank very little, but I was so out of my mind, I thought I was going crazy. That humbled me down. That was the 1st of February, 2020. I ain't had a drink since. I realized I ain't God, right? So it took a lot of humility for me to reach out then. I need some help. I had to get honest. I couldn't do this alone. All the treatment centers, all of the jails, the prisons, the detox centers, all the rats on the back of the ambulance, different this. Tried self-recovery. I tried recovering with a group. I tried everything in the world, but nothing worked until I was really honest and had to break down and tell myself, "Fool, you've been defeated. You can't overcome this alcoholism by yourself." See, I was in and out these rooms listening to all that fellowship stuff with untreated alcoholism. And I kept on drinking because I thought everybody was the problem except me. And I was the problem the whole time. So it took this. He said, "I dare humbly offered myself to God as I then understood him," right? The beginning of the program. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. I had to think about that, peeps, and say, yeah. I had to really get honest. I said, "Kim, can you take a drink? And can you control it?" No, I couldn't. I had to get honest and say, no, I cannot. In no way, shape, form, or fashion could I do this. But after you take that drink, Kim, after so many, do you think you can cut it off? These are questions I had to ask myself, right? I'm doing a self-searching now. No, I couldn't. Once that allergy kicked in, it was all over with. There was no turning it off unless I passed out, blacked out. If I was blacked out, I'd still be walking around and driving and drinking, and then you know where I was at, right? I had to get honest, man. Look at yourself, and look at the damage you're causing other people. You're causing all these other people damage. People you love, you're causing them damage. I had to look at these things deep down within. You know, a lot of things happen deep down within, and especially dangerous for an alcoholic when we rely on self. Had to get honest, and wow. And then I seen other people in this program, such as Brother Rob. He was around when I first come in the program, right at 4 years ago. I seen Tony's example. I seen Brother Rob. I seen Joe's example. I'm like, these dudes got some stuff going on in here. Shoot, let me join these jokers. And you know what? It's been growth ever since. And I ain't had a drink since, man. Shoot, February 3rd be 4 years. Whoever thought a fool like me could stay sober 4 minutes, 4 weeks? No way. Unless I was locked up. But it took a lot of honesty, man. I'm just tell y'all the truth. Honesty. So somewhere in between taking the steps, right? This honesty led into something else. Becoming open-mindedness. This is the O part of these 3 essentials that are these 3 necessary things that are indispensable with honesty, open-mindedness, and wilderness, right? So open-mindedness. I was a closed-minded fool. The only thing my mind was open to was another drink of alcohol. Who can I damage today? Wine, wine, wine. If they cry, I'm gonna make you cry some more. Wine, wine, wine. You need some titty milk or something, you know? That's what I used to tell people. I've been unhurt them so bad, and they get tears in their eyes, and I offer them a bottle of titty milk, right? You know, that's how I was. I wasn't open-minded. I couldn't see nothing. I was tunnel vision, couldn't see a thing. But you know what they were doing? They were shutting down my growth. You know, I knew it was a God up there, right? Shoot, I grew up in the church and then I preached for years. I knew it was a God up there. But you know what? I didn't think I needed no darn God. No, God, I'm in control. Or you done let me run around here for 40 years and drinking, and I'm still surviving. I can't be touched. I remember calling my mom from overseas somewhere one night. It's been back in the 80s or early 90s. I said, Mom, you know what? I think the only reason I'm gonna die is because of the plane crashing. I'm coming back from overseas. That's how crazy I was. That's a crazy, screwed up mind. I actually believe that stuff. But then, see, me having a closed mind is shut down anything for growth. So I couldn't see no change in me with not being stuck with a closed mind. So open-mindedness is very, very essential. At some point, I had to come up with, well, maybe this program will work for me, or maybe I'll try it. And I'm gonna tell you what this program has done, what it does for all of us. It opens us up to new ideas, new concepts, spirituality, and the 12 steps. I need to take the 12 steps. For all the time I was a real alcoholic, but I couldn't get honest, and I sure couldn't open my mind. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, my thought used to be, well, if I go sit in this darn meeting for an hour, you're taking out an hour out of my drinking time. And I stopped going to meetings for months, even 2 or 3 years. Then I try to ease back again after I've been out there on a 3-year run. And so, well, maybe Alcoholics Anonymous can help me now. Then I hear this meeting makers make it. Do the 90s and 90s, right? And I'm doing this. I'm going to meetings. I'm going to meetings. Boom, boom, boom. But I'm still drinking. And I said, well, something wrong with this meeting makers make it. Why I ain't making it? Shoot, you make me go to meetings every day, 2 or 3 times a day. That's when I was in some of these treatment centers. I was still closed-minded. I was like, I don't want what these fools got, because they look like they're miserable. But you know, an important thing, I'll get to that in just a minute. So, an important principle that started in my recovery was I had to become open-minded. I had to start believing in something different than what I believed. Shoot, my old beliefs kept me tore up from the floor up. And I'm like, shoot, I'm stuck in a trap. I'm in a pit. I can't get out. So, but it was worth coming up with open-mindedness. That's beautiful. So look at that. There's more than what meets the eye. It's something out there that's bigger and greater than ourselves. So if I can become open-minded, that means I can become teachable, right? I think we all can become teachable if we come up with an open mind. See, because I'm going to tell you, I used to hear them jokers up there giving their war stories in the meetings, the fellowships I was in. Shoot, man, look, y'all make me want to go out here and drink from this and that, this crap. I didn't offer no solution, right? Hogwash sobriety. That's what I used to call it. But shoot, I didn't feel no better after going to some of the meetings. Shoot, not talking about go to me. If you're struggling with something, you go to me, you will feel better by going to a meeting. Shoot, I used to feel worse when I come out to meeting. All they talked about was what happened and never give me a solution. They would talk about what we were like, but they never did say what happened and what we are like now. So that had me trapped. But then I ran into this Keystone group. My mind came wide open. We got some new concepts and new beliefs that I can believe in. First thing, I got to quit believing in self. See, because you know, the big book talks about selfishness and self-centeredness. That's the root of all our troubles, right? But then on page 62, I do believe it is. And it reads, I read it for you on page 62, when it talks about selfishness, self-centeredness. That's, we think, is the root of our troubles. So how true that is. Man, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. Notice, self. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that sometime in the past, we have made decisions based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. See, when we close-minded, right, we have an inability to see that we are driven by self-delusions. You know, self-seeking, self-pity was always about self. But open-mindedness changed these things around, changed everything around. Well, maybe I can listen at the principles that this program brings about. And notice, you know, in this group, we go through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's found in the first portion of our big book. It ain't found in the 12 and 12. It ain't found in my Bill Caesar book. It ain't found in the Daily Reflections, but the program of recovery found in this volume. So I was hearing all other kind of programs and everything else except the program I needed to hear. Then, when I found out this big book workshop came into my life for a reason, because I was asking God at the time, God, please help me with my alcoholism. That's basically short as I made it. God, help me with my alcoholic problem. I'm tired of living this way. Please take it away. But I had to do some certain things. He knew I needed to come to Alcoholics Anonymous and to practice the principles in the book, the program. And the program would solve my problem. So I trusted God, and I trusted AA. Now I can trust what I was learning from people that was there when I first come in. I could trust this thing. But now the W part is talking about willingness. Willingness is the key in our daily journey. There ain't no doubt about that. We got to become willing. See, my butt had to become willing to get myself out the way. See, I'm the darn problem. So if I'm the problem and I'm still in the middle of the problem, ain't nothing gonna get solved but another darn drink, right? That's all. Had to become willing to believe. Remember I was telling you a while ago that alcohol had my ego so pumped up? But shoot, I thought I was God. I said, God, I don't need no darn God in my life. I'm God. I can get through anything I want to without him. But the lie detector determined that was a lie. I could not get through not one thing. And then I realized years later, God, he was the one there the whole time. So I couldn't become willing until alcoholism beat me down into a state of reasonableness. It hurt me so bad that I was at the point of no return. I thought I was going to die an alcoholic death, right? I can reflect, looking in the mirror at myself, even hit my head on the mirror, and I point my finger at my face in the mirror and say, Kim, are you really crazy? What did you keep doing to yourself? Look at you. You done lost 45 pounds, and you still pouring liquor down your throat. Look at you. Do something with yourself. I used to talk to myself like that. Shoot, I was having a staff meeting, so if somebody heard me in another room, I said, don't worry about me. I'm having a meeting. There ain't nobody in there with you. I said, I'm having a meeting with self. So I had to become willing to believe in something that was greater than my butt. So I'm just sharing with you my experience. Willingness came when I became tired of living the way I was. I got tired of living, spending all my money on alcohol, feeling bad, being depressed, being at conflict with myself, being at conflict with the world, being at conflict with this God of the heavens. I really became sick of it. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I was so sick of that darn life. See, pain is a great teacher, especially when it comes to the alcoholic life. Now, it's a great teacher for people that may live a different kind of life. Pain hurts. It hurts deep. Depends on what kind of pain you go through. But for the alcoholic, pain teaches us a lot of things. I suffered a lot of pain in my drinking career. A lot of wrong living. Treated people bad. You ended up in painful situations. And when I had to turn to wilderness, I could sense that a change could be created. So I developed this wilderness through a lot of pain that I suffered from. And I'm sure we all suffer through a lot of pain, or else we wouldn't have came to Alcoholics Anonymous, right? But we want a different way of life. And this program offers us a different way of life. And then talking about mistakes, shoot, I made mistakes so much as I was a walking mistake. Shoot, I was the kind of fool. Shoot, I get a few drinks under my belt. I'm allowed to try to walk out your house or get out the car and hit the ground. That's a mistake. Walking mistake. That's a bad place to be. Man. So anybody that may be tired of living a certain way and we want to change, how is very important. The acronym HOW, honesty, open-mindedness, and wilderness. Be willing to go to any length for your recovery. Be open-minded to new ideas and new principles, and be honest enough with yourself to know when you're falling back into old patterns. Well, I'm gonna be honest enough with all y'all right now. I ain't had a problem falling back into my old patterns in the last 3, almost 4 years. I know what them old patterns will do for me, but you know what keeps me grounded? My relationship with God. That's all it is too. That's what keeps me grounded. I never want to go back to the way I used to live. So I want to go back to page 58 and share this right here. And it says, our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps, right? It says, if you want what we have and are willing, once again, there's that word willing to go to any length. Well, I think we all, in a sense, we had to become willing if we wanted to have a better life and be free of this alcoholism problem. I know I was willing to go whatever it took for me. I was very willing. I asked questions. I studied this big book a lot. I talked to God a lot. Things was beginning to be revealed to me. And when I did a complete step one, step one in the big book, right? It covers more than just admitting that we are powerless, that our lives is unmanageable. Matter of fact, it goes from the title page where it reads the story of how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. And it goes on down to the end of page 43. That's step one. See, nobody ever gave me a step one till I got to the Keystone group. And my step one was always relapse because I was running on self. And without a solution, we alcoholics, we don't have a defense against the first drink. So that's what kept me going on. I didn't have a defense, no kind of way. Like I said, it's the inability to leave it, to take it or leave it alone. The baffling feature of alcoholism. I think it's found on page 34. So I remember coming in AA. Matter of fact, in the doctor's opinion, it talks about a man's brain. It's imperative that a man's brain be cleared before he is approached. No doubt. I was sober. When my sponsor approached me that very early on when I first got in the Keystone group, he said, well, would you like to take the 12 steps? I said, yes. I've been praying to God for somebody to 12-step me through this thing. My sponsor in turn, he said, you know what? I've been praying for somebody to take through the program. A lot of y'all know who my sponsor is. Well, my close friends know who my sponsor is, right? So he 12-stepped me through this thing. So we both were looking for each other. But God brought us together, right? That changed everything in my life. Wow, somebody been to take the time and help me through this thing. God done answered my prayer. He done answered his prayers as well. So and I kept hearing. I used to love to read how it works. I still love to read how it works today. And then it said, here are the steps we took. And it became plain and simple, the 12 steps. That's the steps that these people took so they can recover from alcoholism. Oh my God, I was so happy. So, man, but you know what? Let me share this with you about the fact. When we alcoholics, we dealing with untreated alcoholism, right? Until we find this solution. So before my recovery, I couldn't see well, honesty, open-mindedness, or wilderness had anything to do with my drinking. I couldn't see it because, I was dealing with a sick mind. I believed it all was required, once again, was not to drink and go to meetings. I used to hear all that time. Just go to meetings, don't drink, and don't die. I heard that stuff for years, man. But you know what? I leave that darn meeting, I'm going to give me a drink. If I die, I die. But then I had in my mind, I don't think drinking going to kill me, though. Something else might kill me, but ain't going to be drinking. Pour up another one. Boom, boom, boom. That's the way it was. So then it started seeming like this was a normal solution, right? Well, if this guy up here on the podium talking, just don't drink, go to meetings and don't die. Shoot, I'm gonna try that. Sure, it didn't work. Shoot, not for a real alcoholic of my type. No, it did not work, right? But then here it comes again. I had to come honest with myself. I said, I can't do what he do and stay sober. I gotta have something much more. Then I used to hear him say, keep it simple, right? Keep it simple, stupid. I think I got something up here and say, keep it. Yeah, it is right there. Well, simple but not easy. That's why simple but not easy means a price had to be paid. It meant destruction of self-centeredness. I must turn in all things to the Father of select delights, the God of everything. So I wasn't interested in those suggestions before I was approached by my sponsor. But then once I realized that these suggestions, they became a must, in my career, they became a must. So I was sitting there all this time with untreated alcoholism, and without a solution, I was going to keep on drinking till I died. Wow. Thank God. That proved to me God is real, right? I mean, even for the atheist and agnostic, no problem. They believe in something. They believe in something greater than them. To solve their problem. I just happen to believe in the true God. And I don't tell nobody else they got to believe in what I believe in. I just like to share some of my experiences. I do these meetings, so maybe it'll help somebody else to become open-minded. No, I never push my guard on you, but I ain't never going to apologize to you for talking about it. He simply saved my life, gave me a new way of living, and gave me a peace of mind that I never experienced before. So, back to the drinking career, talking about honesty. We alcoholics, especially my type, I was totally 100% dishonest. My mind was shut off to everything but another drink. And I was unwillful to do anything to relieve me of this alcoholism. No, that's the true story of my life. I wanted to stay the same, but I knew I couldn't stay the same. Somebody was going to have to leave this world, either me or them. And when I speak of them, it was with everybody I came in conflict with. That meant every human being I ever seen. They're going to have a conflict with this food. Yeah, buddy. But the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, man, it produces a personality change sufficient enough for all of us to recover from alcoholism. So, like I said, I was in and out this fellowship since 83, off and on, till I found a solution in February 2020. So all them years, I was suffering from what we may call, we don't all heard the term dry drunk in AA, right? Yeah, dry drunk. You had them periods. You might stay sober for a day or two, a week or two, a month or so, maybe even longer, maybe even sometimes up to a year, but you wasn't happy. I knew something was wrong with me when I didn't like the way that I felt when I was sober. And the only thing that would fix that problem would have been it was another drink. That was untreated alcoholism the whole time. I had no idea. And all of us are different. We have different thoughts. We have different measures we take. But some of the things that really causes us these problems, with the resentments, the blame, and the self-pity, when we on them kind of the untreated alcoholism path, it made, for me, staying sober was impossible. I didn't have a chance in the whole world just to get sober and stay sober without the solution. So the Big Book makes a mention, I think it's on page 133, a body badly burned by alcohol does not recover overnight, nor do twisted thinking and depression vanish in a twinkling. Look, our minds have been warped, right? So many years of us drinking. Shoot, our minds twisted. And we can associate that twisted thinking with the malady, right? That's the second symptom of alcoholism. We can associate this twisted thinking. I used to hear in these treatment centers, they used to make me go to these classes. They call it stinking thinking and all this, right? I can't, man, what the hell are you talking about stinking thinking? So if I think this way, it's going to stink, and I never smelled it. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, I never smelled it. I said, shoot, my thinking ain't stinking, man. What are you talking about in this classroom? Shoot, but it was the malady. And then once my mind got free of this alcohol, I'm honest, in the very beginning, you know, we can still have thoughts. We're gonna have thoughts. We human beings, right? We just can't shut our thought patterns out. You know, we done damaged our minds and bodies for so long. Some of these things is not gonna disappear overnight. You know, the big book tells us we must continue this process, you know, this process of recovery. We must practice spiritual growth for the rest of our lives. Key to it, spiritual growth. Steps 10, 11, and 12. No doubt about it. We got to keep growing in power and knowledge, because all our power comes from God. So, and that pretty much fitted me pretty perfectly. Untreated alcoholism. That's why I kept going in and out these different programs, these different treatment centers. They give me all the books I need. Shoot, I want to read them darn books. I said, I got it. I got control over all this. And that was a lie. Untreated alcoholism. But then, let me show you what really helped me here. And as a matter of fact, it's on page 58 too. It says, some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideals, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. So our old ideals kept us drunk in a sense. At least I know from my experience, my old ideas kept me drunk. My old ideas kept me in and out of these treatment centers. And they was no good. I had to let go of my old ideas and accept some of the things that this program of Alcoholics Anonymous was telling me about. So, and that makes me reflect back in the doctor's opinion, right? It talks about, well, now, matter of fact, I can go back further than that. Let me go back to, I think, the preface, right? In order to get out of my old ideas. So I was introduced to this. And it says, matter of fact, on page XII, I'm going to start right there. It says, we of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body to show other alcoholics. Now, this is in italics right here. Precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. Okay, that opened up a new idea. These people talking about they don't recover from alcoholism. Well, do you think I can recover from alcoholism too? So then, like I said, once again, I'll share with you again on the title page where it reads Alcoholics Anonymous, the story of how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. This gave me some type of a hope. Well, maybe if they've recovered from it, maybe I can too. So I'm in the right place. I do believe. But before we can recover, we have to discuss the problem before we can offer a solution, or before we can accept the solution that's offered in this book. And then back to the preface. It says, therefore, the first portion of this volume describing the AA recovery program. So this is the only place I need to look for the AA recovery program. Man, this gave me some new ideas. So you mean if I study this book and somebody 12-step me through this book, it's gonna help me. Yeah, took my old ideas out the way, Kim. You had to get out of yourself. Let these people take you through this thing. Let them help you. And they did. The paragraph I read here on XII, once again, forward to the first edition. I mean, here in this book we're going to discuss the problem, we're going to discuss the solution, and we're going to discuss the course of action that's required for us to recover from alcoholism. Then it goes on to say, for them, we hope these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. First 100 men and women agreed on this very statement. No further authentication is necessary, provided we follow a few simple rules laid out in the big book. So this book gonna give us everything we need to get sober and to stay sober. It has worked for me. I thank God for it. It's been a blessing. But then when it comes back to becoming honest with myself, becoming open-minded with myself, become willing willing to do whatever was necessary. They explained to me what the problem was here in the doctor's opinion. So I had to examine the doctor's opinion as I was being 12-step through it. And it reads here on page XVI. Matter of fact, first full paragraph. It says, the physician who at our request gave us this letter has been kind enough to enlarge upon his views in another statement which follows. In this statement, he confirms that we who have suffered alcoholic torture must believe that the body of the alcoholic is quite as abnormal as his mind. It did not satisfy us to be told that we could not control our drinking just because we were maladjusted to life, that we were in full flight from reality or were outright mental defectives. These things were true to some extent, right? In fact, to a considerable extent with some of us, talking about us real alcoholics. But we are sure that our bodies were sickened as well. In our belief, any picture of the alcoholic which leaves out this physical factor is incomplete. Doctors fear that we have an allergy to alcohol interests us. No doubt, an allergy to alcohol. So that's what's going on with me. When I drink, I can't darn stop. My body demands more. Now I got to change my belief. Well, if I got an allergy to this stuff, that means I'm a sick puppy. The big book calls it an illness, I think, on page 17, right? So that means they trying to tell me I'm suffering from an illness that only spiritual experience can conquer. Whoa. So I had to get down and be honest. At this point, I had to admit complete defeat. Kill, you threw like a wagon. Your butt can't drink nothing else for the rest of your life. You're going to crank this allergy up. That's why you ain't been able to stop yourself from drinking. Your body demands it more and more and more due to this fact. The other part, when it talks about the mind, we'll get to the mind in a minute. Anyway, this allergy is set off something. Sets off a phenomenon of craving. Only us real alcoholics suffer from this craving. That's what makes us alcoholic, the allergy. We don't want to get the phenomenon of craving. A moderate drinker don't get it, a heavy drinker don't get it. But we real alcoholics, we get this allergy, and it's a bad thing. And then on the next page or so, top of XXVII, I want to get this in. And it said, we believe, and so suggested a few years ago, that the action of alcohol on these chronic alcoholics is a manifestation of an allergy, that the phenomenon of craving is limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate drinker. These allergic types can never safely use alcohol in any form at all. And once formed the habit and found they cannot break it, once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them and they become astonishingly difficult to solve. This is the unmanageability. So I had to ask myself, I had to be honest, Kim, can you manage how much you drink? Or can you control how much you drink? I had to get honest and say, no, I can't. Is your life unmanageable? Shoot, yeah, my life unmanageable. If I can't control something like alcohol, then my life is screwed up. It's causing me consequences back to back to back, and bumps and bruises and knots on my head and cuts in my bellies and everywhere else, you know? So something is terribly wrong. It's due to this alcoholism. So I've been sitting there in the rooms with untreated alcoholism for all these years. Wow. But nobody ever told me, right? These allergic types can never safely use alcohol in any form at all. I had to get honest. Well, yeah, this is me. I finally could admit this was me. It was no longer, oh no, I got control. I ain't got that. Shoot, I can beat this allergy. Shoot, I'm smart. I made straight A's in school. I can beat this allergy, sure enough. Shoot, I was a star basketball player. I can slam dunk this allergy, but I couldn't because I tried over and over again. Man, and like the big book says on the very next page on XXIX, this is repeated over and over, right? And when we get to on that drink, we'll take that drink, and this process is repeated over and over unless this person can experience an entire psychic change there's very little hope of his recovery. See, we drank because we like the effect produced by alcohol, right? I used to love the effect produced by alcohol. Then this stuff ran me crazy to where I couldn't stop. I had to realize this. I had to become open-minded. Well, from this point on, I see that I can't do this by myself. I need some help. I had to become willing to believe. I had to become willing to let my sponsor 12-step me through this thing. I had to become willing to study the book, because this is a textbook. I had to become willing to change my beliefs. See, my old beliefs, like I say again, my old beliefs is what kept me drunk, in and out the rooms, because I was stuck on self. I couldn't accept no new beliefs. But this opened up my mind. Oh my God. But then I'm gonna share this. I still got a couple minutes. XXIX, the very last paragraph. Okay, where it says, I do not hold with those who believe that alcoholism is entirely a problem of mental control. I have had many men who had, for example, worked a period of months on some problem or business deal which was to be settled on a certain date favorably to them. They took a drink a day or so prior to that date, and then the phenomenon of craving at once became paramount to all other interests, so that the important appointment was not met. These men were not drinking to escape, they were drinking to overcome a craving beyond their mental control. Here's two symptoms right here. Mental control. Once we develop that phenomenon of craving, we don't have the ability with our minds to shut off this craving. We ain't Superman and we ain't God, so we can't shut this kind of stuff off. So I had to become willing, man. Look, this book telling me the truth. Okay, I had to become willing to see what did. See, in our drinking careers, we couldn't see the truth from the false, right? Now here it is. 100 men and women don't agree. Shoot, I'm not going to argue with about 20 to 25, but 100, if all of them can agree on this, shoot, maybe I can agree on it too. Maybe I can achieve what these people achieve. And it set a fire inside of me. I said, oh, yes, I can do this thing now. Just can't run it, can't do it on my own. That's the thing it is. Oh, can't do it. See, I was an alcoholic, the very hopeless type. I'm sure we all probably experienced some of this stuff. No matter what I did, as long as my mind stayed closed, as long as I was dishonest, as long as I was unwilling to do anything but take another drink, I could not make no progress. So, do not let anything deter us from accepting new beliefs, new concepts, new principles. These principles became paramount in my life. Honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, very paramount in my life today. Since I took the 12 steps, I since recovered from alcoholism. And today, as I went through the process, step 1, step 12, my life today, by gaining a relationship with the God of my understanding, I can be honest today about everything. I don't have to lie no more. I don't have to tell one lie and make up 25 more to try to cover my tracks. Living by the principles of this program. This program works, people. It really does. No doubt about it. But it took a whole lot of work. It took a whole lot of beating down for an alcoholic of my type. But my goal is I never want anybody to suffer from alcoholism for over 40 years like I did. That's why I enjoy sharing some of the things, my personal things that I went through. But believe me, it's not about the meeting. It's not about me, but it's simply one alcoholic talking to another, sharing and hope. What we were like, what happened, what we are like now. Not perfect, right? I'm a human being. I ain't gonna live life perfectly. I don't expect to, and God don't expect me to. Because, a clown like me, I might say something to anybody and it might piss them off. I mean, I ain't gonna cuss you though, but I just might say something. I might see something I don't like, and I say, man, what's wrong with you? Let me pray for you. And then somebody might get mad if I ask to pray for them, right? You don't need to be praying for me. Okay. But see, then they might get me a little upset because I be wanting to help people, right? But But anyway, I don't want nobody ever suffer like I did. It's a blessing today to be alive and well, and we have a solution today, grounded in a power greater than ourselves. My power and all I did, that shit was sending me to the grave. But thank God I got another chance. If I die this day, at least I'll be sober when I go. But I ain't planning on going nowhere for a while. It's God's will, not mine. So I thank God for everybody being here today. Thanks for supporting me and being part of my journey. God bless. All right. And Brother Dan, thank you, co-host, as always. God bless you, brother.
Always a pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you very much for a great meeting again today. It's more of how it worked for everybody, and how it can work for everybody who's willing. So thank you for that. Big thank you.